He's located in Davidson, North Carolina, while serving all of North and South Carolina. He is the Mortgage Planner, the Carolina's #1 mortgage radio. Premium lending experience along with mortgage planning. Ranked top in the nation, here is your host, Brad Roche.
Welcome to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, 704-412-2727, direct dial. You can catch that. You can go 855-4-THE-PLAN. You'll be able to dial that in. Check us. I don't remember the last time I looked at numbers on the phone to dial, but it's 855-4-THE-PLAN, or go to fortheplan.com. It doesn't matter how you do it either. You can dial number 4theplan.com or fortheplan.com. We got so many ways to get to us. I am Brad Roche, the Mortgage Planner, Element Home Loans. Joined today by my son, third generation, right? That's what we should call you now, right? Yep. Jacob Roche, welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Is it right? This is cool, right? So I've done a show for many years, took a break, COVID hits, and we take a break, and lots going on, and it's time to get back in the saddle. I thought, what better way than to bring my man on the show?
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Right. We're going to have a good time. So now you've bought a house. You've been working with me for over 3 years now, and that would be an understatement. In fact, I would say that my man's been working ever since Pops, my dad, your grandpa, was doing mortgages as well.
Doing whatever I can to help.
Yeah, he was always the kid that hung out in the office, at Dad's office, getting free stuff that I didn't even know my dad had that I wanted for my desk. But anyway, we're gonna come to you today with a show that I want to start off with a series. We're gonna have about 6 series on this, and I want to call it, the university, because I want to not give you basics. This isn't a 101 class, right, on buying a house or investing in a house. I've owned several properties, done some developments, been in the mortgage business for 30 years now. I want to give you stuff Pops taught me, and I want to give you stuff that I'm giving to him buying in this generation, but yet I also want to relate it into what highlights you're seeing as a home buyer as well. So there's a lot we're going to cover today. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Episode 1, we're going to break down a couple of the topics. The first one there that we're going to talk on.
I think we should talk on credit first.
We're definitely going credit. So now let's not, I hope your credit score is good. What's some highlights? Let's start breaking down some of the things and inquiries that we're looking for, right? So talk a little bit on if you got good credit and people are pulling your credit.
I think that a lot of people think that inquiries can have a big impact to their score.
But can I say it a little different?
Yeah.
It feels like you're going to shoot me if you pull my credit. Like your credit goes trash just from getting it pulled.
Yeah.
And it's just so not the
case.
That
is a common misconception.
And you should pull it if you're going to shop for something, right? You should pull it like a car or house. You're going to want to pull it within a quick period.
Yeah.
I'll rattle off a couple things that I've learned over time. One of them being that different repositories, the credit reporting agencies, will do different actions when you pull credit. Meaning one will, if you pull credit, they don't even ding your score. Yeah. They don't even do it. I don't remember which one. You can look it up. It doesn't matter because most places pull all 3 or pull 2 and you don't know which one they're pulling.
True.
TransUnion, Equifax, things of that nature. Now, number 2, they don't do anything they'll hit your credit for a month and then they don't do it anymore. You could check it again and again and again, but they're going to do one hit to your credit. The next one is going to do it and it might last for 2 months. So my point is they set the rules, but what you should not be concerned is if you have good credit, don't be concerned if they're going to pull it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you think, based on what you've seen, and I don't know as though we could really know this, people will say it's a 3-point hit to your credit when it's good. I find that it's not an impact at all when your credits are high 7s. Yeah. It's more of an impact when you're a little bit 7 to 5 somethings.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the more credit pulls that you have when around the 700s, it'd be more.
It's almost like picking at a scab. Is that gross? Like you don't want to you don't want to do that. Like you already hurt. That's nasty, right? Don't do it. Let it heal a little bit. You don't need a new car. You don't need to get out. You need to let it chill out. So as long as you're within reason, right? And I know that's a tough guardrail, but don't go and get a bunch of credit. Now we had jotted down soft pull. You want to talk on that for a minute?
Yeah. So a soft pull is just pulling from one credit bureau. So a soft pull. It doesn't count as a hard inquiry, meaning that's when it dings your credit is the hard inquiry.
A lot of people ask for that.
Yeah.
Now, what does it do for you on the loan side?
It lets me see everything except 2 other credit bureaus out there.
Can you effectively give them an approval off a soft pull?
Pre-qualification.
Yeah, no, it's soft. We're going to give you a soft approval if you get a soft pull. So if you're serious about buying, I would do it because you don't want the hard pull to come back different.
Yeah.
You just don't. And you also want all three of them if you're getting a house. Now, let's spend a minute on the free credit stuff you get on the, you go on Chase or some of the different web things that you can do apps, web things. Glad you're here, buddy. Apps, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So you can get on those. And some people will say, oh, my credit score is this because they're getting it on that. I get that.
Yeah.
You get it on yours.
Yeah.
How accurate do you think that is to ours?
I think most every client I've talked to would say that there is on those apps higher than when we pull their credit.
Yeah.
Even when I went to go and get a car, mine was lower than what I saw on my free credit app.
So see, these soft pulls and the free stuff you get on the credit is not a mortgage credit report, residential mortgage credit report. We're going to hit you 30 to 60 points more.
Yeah.
More risk. You're buying a house. When's the last time you ran out and spent $300,000-$400,000? Wasn't yesterday, unless you have a really, really badass car.
Yeah.
Right. Other than that, you're gonna have to deal with it. Okay, so let's go on. What's going to hit your credit the hardest? We made a couple bullet points before the show.
I would have said late payments all day.
Yeah, and 30 days is going to hurt you real bad. Like if I said, what is the easiest way to trash your credit?
Late payment.
And even if you go one.
Yeah.
Even if you go one, that can cost you, depending. See, there's a scale of, it's hard to describe, but there's a scale of sensitivity. And that's what I meant joking about being a scab. But like you have no wounds, right? You got a great credit score. Well, then for you to get hit a couple times isn't going to hurt it near as much as the guy that's already picking at it.
Yeah.
So if you have one late, well, you might go from 800 to 700 or 750 to 650, which is still a big hit. But it's really going to hit you hard if you've already got a lower score. It's starting to compound, in other words.
Yeah, I agree.
Number one thing we would say is going to affect your credit is 30-day late. How long would I wait before? It depends on what scale I just was talking, right? Are you at the high end scale or the low end scale? What's a great credit score? We didn't mention this. This isn't 101. I'm going to remind you on that. But it's 800's good score, 500 stinks.
Yeah.
Top tier.
I would agree.
Best rates we're going to give you.
What, 780 plus?
Yeah, 760. We're gonna bend a little bit and try and make it work. Right. So high sevens is where you want to be. Ideal credit score for anybody going out and getting a loan. Okay. Next piece that would ding the credit.
I would say length of credit, meaning how long you've had it open total.
I would agree.
From what I've seen.
So don't close accounts.
Yeah.
Now these are not basic 101s. I'm going after that because these are developing your credit further, right? So don't go back like you got your first credit card when?
Yeah, you
12
guys.
12 or how old were you?
I was 18, my first credit card. But when I opened that credit card, you guys had added me as an authorized user when I was 15.
All right.
So right now, being almost 24 on Wednesday,
yeah, buddy. Happy birthday Wednesday, right?
Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, I got it when I was 15. So my length of credit is 9 years now.
Yeah, see, now if you close that, I think I jotted it down. Length of credit, last I had looked, right, is about 40% of your score.
Yeah.
Think about that. So if you got one card you had for 1 month, your score ain't going to be much at all. It's all based on length, or 40% is based on length. So this is a lot of extra that you got to look at when you're dealing with your credit. So we're going to come back. We're not done with credit, but I got a couple other points. You're listening to The Plan. Go to fortheplan.com in case you're missing some of this. See you in a minute. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, the Mortgage Planner, 855-4THE-PLAN, or go to fortheplan.com. I'm joined in the studio with Jacob Roche, my son. I'm proud today, buddy. We're rocking and rolling. Already banged through the credit section. I said we had more. Do we? Like I'm looking at my notes. I don't have any more on credit.
I think we've covered it.
Pay your bills on time. Did I mention that? Pay your bills on time doesn't hurt. Why are we going over specifics? Well, because the better credit score you have, so you might have good credit, right? But if you're going to go apply for a $400,000 loan, should your Amex have a big balance on it if you pay it off once a month? No. You want to pay that down and then go have them pull your credit. So give it a week or two before so you're watching. That would be a good idea, right? Because it's balanced to what your credit limit is would be the final comment I would have. I don't think we mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, okay. We were talking about that. And so credit utilization, how much of your total credit you're using. So $1,000 card, you put $500 on it, 50%.
What's
credit
the rules
utilization.
we've heard on that? Like, what percentage do all the gurus?
They say 30% or lower is the
Man,
best.
that's no fun during the month at all.
Agreed.
You know what I'm
Christmas
saying? Unless
time.
you right. I mean, you're going to go over that 30%. So I would tell you, just don't go stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can pay it off every month, try and pay it off. If you're going to leave a balance, try and leave the balance under 30%. That's what I would look for, right? So if you're leaving it steady on there, don't be over that 30 because that's going to hit your score a little bit. So even if you don't pay it off.
Yeah.
I'm not encouraging carrying debt. I'm just saying it does help
you.
the score. So, all right. So let's dig in debt ratio. As we got into debt, I want to highlight these. Now, this is the first series of 6 we're going to do for you guys in talking about buying the house right and taking the things that we've learned in today's market and the 30-year experience, as well as a generation before. So we are 3 generations deep. Go to fortheplan.com. You can check out some of our other shows, some of our recordings, some of our other tools. We have a lot on the website. I'm not going to sidebar now because we've got a lot to cover, but we will come back to it. So if you are looking for tools, though, log on fortheplan.com and get your plan, right?
Yeah.
Get something, man.
Yeah. Good plan.
Get the plan. So debt ratios, let's talk about front and back, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got to say about
front
that?
and back ratio?
Caught you off guard, did I? I'm going to have to do that once in a while. Talk about it.
Yeah. So front to back ratio in our industry, that's the easiest way to how we refer to it is front and back ratio. The front ratio is house to income. So your total housing expense to your monthly income. And then debt to income is your monthly minimum payments or debts to your income, your monthly income.
Plus the house.
Yes, exactly. So,
Yeah. So we're in the back ratio. We're going to include the house.
Yes.
With your other debt. Now, here's what's stupid. I want you to understand about mortgages. Okay. Let's talk stupid about mortgages. Most of them are the rules that they do, but there's a lot of vetting for the process. That's really what they're doing. It's not offensive. It's vetting, right? That's one of the best words I've heard. They're going to make sure you're going to repay the loan back. Okay. Well, when it comes to debt ratio, when we're talking about your income, we're talking about your gross. This is before Uncle Sam takes money. That's a huge piece. So if you're at home trying to run your debt ratio, use the money before taxes come out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's sidebar on to things you should count in your debt ratio. What are some things that would be counted? You said minimum payments. Define a few of those.
Credit card with call it $500 on it. You have a $35 minimum payment you have to make. Car loan.
But I pay $250 a month.
Yeah, we're only looking at 35.
Right. So hear that. We're only looking at minimum payments. I'm doing that jokingly so you get the point on this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else are we looking at? Car, you mentioned.
Car loans. Let's see, personal installments. So personal loan that you might have.
That boat you're looking for, that motorcycle, Harley we might want, right? What else is fun? Jeeps are fun. Lots of stuff you could get a good payment on. Okay, so installment loans. Student loans, we're not digging into that. I've been doing this so long. They've changed the rules so many times on how you qualify someone depending on what loan you pick.
Yeah.
For what loan minimum payment you use that's in forbearance or not in forbearance or whatever it is. It's a kind of messy. And a lot of the reporting on that is bad.
Yeah.
So we would want to look at that in order to tell you how to count that in your debt ratio. Okay, so on debt ratio, we covered front and back, so you know what that is. The front ratio is roughly going to be about 35%. Now, I said that to you earlier, and you were like, right?
Yeah. That's what they tell us.
Yeah, right. And here's what's funny. The computer will take that up. How high you seen it go? 48,
yeah, 48 to 50,
50% of your gross income. That's pretty significant. Now, what is that? Really good credit, that high tier.
Yep.
You got good debt. Your debt ratio could be high, but you got some money in the bank, right? Yep. Okay, so there's some other factors that play into all of this. Next piece on here. I can't even read my own writing. What'd you write down? What is?
So
That's what I wrote. What is?
I put what isn't. So things that aren't.
Oh,
that
what's
don't
not in it? Oh, listen to this list. This is stupid.
Yeah,
right?
we could go on.
Here's the mortgage stupid part I was talking about.
We could go on for a while. Insurance, car insurance, health insurance.
Home insurance is in.
Home insurance is.
Car insurance is out.
Yep.
Health insurance is out.
Cell phone bill.
Cell phone bill.
We don't care about that.
No. My energy bill.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Got to pay it every month.
Trash.
Look, you can buy a house, but no one cares that you got energy, heat, electric. No, it don't matter. We ain't counting that in the debt ratio.
Yeah. Exactly.
Taxes will count on
Yes.
tax and insurance, but on your income, we'll use before they take money out, right? Right? Think about how dumb some of the stuff is. What's other things you don't? Child support you're going to count.
Yep. Alimony account.
Alimony you're counting.
I think. Yeah.
Cosign, if you cosign for something.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're going to count it. Now, how do you get out of that? Let's say I co-signed for a car for you. how do I get out of that? How do you get out of the debt, or I get out of the debt rather? If I co-sign for you, how do I get out of the debt? I'd have to show 6 months of you making payments, canceled checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not always that easy. Now, if you're listening to a business owner, and you have a business that is paying bills and you can put your car in there, that would automatically get that off your debt ratio. That's a good point. Like if you can show a pattern of your business paying for 6 months, you're going to get out a lot of that debt ratio personal when you go to buy property.
Yeah, like we just had a deal that closed recently. We helped clients out that
we had several deals
fair
closed
enough,
recently.
fair
I'm
enough.
kidding. Go
But
ahead.
one specifically that they had just signed with their helping their brother get a house because he was paid commission. He couldn't get the house that he wanted, but he still made good income. So they co-signed, and then he went to go and buy an investment property. And with that being a $3,000 payment that the brother was carrying, that hit their debt to income.
Yeah, meaning hard for them to qualify, and they have no pattern of who paid it.
Exactly. And they were only there for 4 months, so they couldn't prove it either.
Yeah, it makes it hard.
Yeah.
We still got the deal done.
Yeah, we did still get it done.
On their end of
Exactly.
it. So there's ways to get there. Now, we won't get into a lot of the alternate ways of doing debt ratios. Like you don't always have to have tax returns. That's not part of the segment we're doing today. Like you can use bank statements. We even have a loan. They don't even care if you have a job. I thought that was gone 15 years ago. Those are back.
Yep, it's
Welcome
back.
to your generation. You don't need a job, we'll give you a loan. However, when I was doing that regularly, you didn't have to have good credit either. Now you have to have good credit and you don't have to have a job. So those will be different. We'll come into. We've talked about that. I love that. Okay. So PMI insurance. So here's what does your debt, I asked you this earlier, does your debt ratio matter in regards to, well, if it's under like a 36 front, 43 back, right? Counting the house, let's just call it 43% debt ratio, using your gross income minus and some of the bills that qualify on it. Does your debt ratio matter if you're in line?
I would say yes.
Why do you say that?
For conventional.
Yeah, why?
Yeah. So the lower debt to income that you have, the better ratio on private mortgage insurance or PMI you'll have.
It's jacked, right? I think that's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a ripoff.
The closer we get to 50, I would say the more expensive.
These are not the comments or opinions of Element Home Loan. When do you throw that at the bottom of the screen? No, but PMI insurance is what you're talking about. And I'm interrupting you because I hate that part.
Yeah.
I had a client, I was complaining to you about it. I had a client that was in his debt ratio was like 43, qualifies fine. And no, 44.
Yeah.
44,
yes.
Just over 43, the magic number. Off the gross, it doesn't count your insurance, things like that. You're getting the point. So their math. But he goes to qualify, and because he's over the 43, when I had pulled his PMI insurance quote under a 43, it was like $100 a month. I pulled it over a 43, 1%. I know that's going to change the game. He may never repay the loan. I know. Crazy, right? Well, it tripled.
Yeah.
$300 a month. Okay, pause on that. Should we take a commercial now and just have a moment of silence? You get my point. Yeah. So some of the rules, when does debt ratio come in to be important? It comes in to be important if you're on the edge.
Yeah.
That's it. So I would encourage you, if you don't know your debt ratio, to manage it. And you can manage that. There's tools online. You can go to fortheplan.com. Check those out. We have plenty of them there. We have a lot of calculators online. We have a lot of past shows. We have a lot of rent when you get into a house, renting it. There's a lot of things on the website that I think for someone who's looking to purchase a house, that's a good start, besides the university we're building out right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that there's a lot of good tools. When going to look to buy for a house, I think there's a lot of numbers that you'll need to know.
Ahead of time.
Yeah.
Too many people get caught when they're, this one guy, earlier, like, hey, we're making an offer. You just filled your application out like yesterday. And I'm not being negative because, of course, we'd love to do it. Who cares? Come on in, buy the car. You can leave today with it. But the mortgage planner, right? When you say, hey, how come we call ourselves that? Well, because we're loan officers. Well, mortgage planner is really that, having a plan of action in your business.
Yeah.
And this is your business. This is you, Inc. So as you're building your portfolio, you have to have a plan. And I think there's a lot that's said in the Bible about it. We've got tons of verses we pulled that have the word plan in it. Yeah. I'm going deep now. You say, I want to teach you what I got in business. This is it right here, buddy. But how can you do that when you're moving so fast? You can't.
Yeah.
So you got to be ahead of the skis a little bit and knowing that's what I've learned. Now, once you got a pattern down, or because we've owned over 100 investment properties personally, I know how to put a deal together and make offers on it. And you get into a rhythm, you get into what you're looking for. So some of that lightens the load as you go. You can move a little slower because you already have the established plan. I'm hoping that kind of makes sense. Is it to you?
Yeah, definitely.
You got it. You've been hanging around me for a while. I'm rattling this off for a couple of times. So we've talked about credit. We've hit on debt ratio. We're going to talk about the money due at closing next, and not just the cost, down payment, but what you're looking for and some things like that I think will really add extra to what we're talking about. Like people say prepaids or escrow. We're going to spend a lot of time on that, but you need to know that's there. A lot of clients don't even know that part.
It's a lot of extra cost than a lot of people don't know about.
Don't make it sound like it's a bad deal, like extra cost.
True.
Hey, you're listening to The Plan, 855-4-THE-PLAN, or go to fortheplan.com. We're covering credit, debt ratios, cash to close is next. I'm going to tell you how to pick that right loan. Chooses you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roche, the mortgage planner, joined with Jacob Roche in the studio. Go to fortheplan.com. For what? For the plan. But where? For theplan.com. You get that?
Yep.
Make a rhyme out of that or something fun. You can dial 855-4-THE-PLAN. You have to look up the numbers to figure out what numbers to hit, or you can go 704-412-2727 is your direct dial. We talked credit. We talked debt ratios. Had a quick question during the break talking about, do you pay extra or should I pay extra on a credit card? Yeah, I would try and simplify and have one personal credit card, one business. If you're running a side hustle, have a business. I'd have two. And I would try and pay them off every month. And if you need to leave a balance, try and keep it under 30.
Yep. And
we're going to cover some budgeting, and I know that was a quick answer on the question, but we're going to cover some budgeting as we go through this. And I actually think that's in, I want to think about it, maybe segment 5, or not segment 5, but show 5 that we're going to be doing about this show. And buying the house right and doing it right, learning what we've got off 3 generations deep. Man, 3 generations deep, right? And I wonder if my dad felt like, is it more work or less work? What do you think I feel? Bringing you in the business, more work, less work?
A little bit more work.
I think it's getting to be less. I'm kind of liking it. We're sliding into a good groove.
Glad to hear that.
Been good. So let's talk cash to close. Sounds easy. What do you think of? I say down payment. Right. Yeah. That's what everybody thinks of. Now let's put all the junk around it. Right. Let's put the extras that are needed around it. You can start.
First, I would bring up is probably points. I feel like a lot of our clients say, "What are these points?"
Because they're getting charged more, yeah. Right? Okay, yeah. That's fair.
I think that's the biggest one.
Can we clarify why clients are getting charged point in today's market? Because not everybody can get them, but a lot of clients. I think it's funny you said that. I'll tell you why. So a lot of clients are getting charged points now. Why?
The way the market's moving.
Yeah. So it's really hard. That's a great answer. It's really hard to get a loan. Like when I was doing this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I could get a loan and say, hey, let me give you a credit of $2,000, $4,000. We're talking points, so 1%, 2% loan amount, right? Those days, since the market went down to 3 and back up now, are almost gone. If not, they're not there. Yeah. Can't give credits as easy on any loans right now.
Yeah, I agree. I even think from when I started 3 years back, like our coworker had bought a second home, 10% down. His interest rate is at a 3. And you got a great deal on it. But right now, we don't see that at all. Isn't it 15 down or for a second home?
Yeah. And we can get,
points.
Well, but here's where you're getting into the mess of it. I would even call the extras on this when it comes to costs. Anytime you ask for something special. So people will say, do I need 20% down to buy a house? No, you don't. Do you get a better deal with 20% down than you do 10? Yes. Do you get a better deal with 30% down than you do 20? Yes. That's kind of the best, 30% down. Okay. Anything less is all going to be kind of extras. So I'll give you an example. Oh, they have 0 down. Oh, they have this special. Listen, if it's special, they'll make it special to you. Nothing's free.
Yeah.
Loan products are designed to make it easier to purchase. We have several of them are there. It doesn't mean that there aren't better deals out there. No. What I'm saying is you have to look at each product for what it is. And cash to close, if you ask for something different or not your plain Jane 20% down, conventional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loan, there's probably going to be an extra charge.
Yeah.
In some way, it might be a little higher rate. It might be a little lesser rate and more cost. Hard telling.
Yeah.
I know I just ranted on that, but that is a little bit different. So let's talk points, though. To your point, let's talk points. What does points do for you now? Well, to me, it helps find a better deal. So give you an example. Every day our market changes. We may be quoting 7%. Let's keep numbers simple today. I'll jot this down. Let's say we're doing 7% today. Okay. And that's no points or maybe even a quarter of a point. Well, I don't want to pay any. Well, listen, if you don't pay any, you might get 7.5 and I only have to charge you 0.25%. So on 100,000, $250. That'd be really cheap to drop a half a point.
Yeah.
You following this? And I know this may get complicated, but my point is there's a window of rates and cost, and those change.
Yeah.
Those change. So if I can see a deal as your lender and say, hey, man, wow, I know rates are at 7, but do you know 6.25, I can get it for this amount of money. Well, what do we do then? We take the difference from the payment and see how much you're saving. $100 a month. I'm going to multiply that by 12. That's $1,200 a year. How much did it cost us to get it? $1,200. Your break even is 1 year. Through these next 6 shows, you're going to hear about break even all the time. You're going to hear about it because that's how we're evaluating smart decisions. If I'm going to put it in, when do I get it back? You ever watch Shark Tank, right?
Oh, yeah.
Can we go there? Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, I got to know when I'm going to get my money back. That's exactly how you're investing into a property. If you got to pay X, when do you get it back? That's how we're going to help pick loan programs. I'm skipping ahead of my skis. I know that. Let's go into prepaid. So actually, we can't end there. Points we have to spend a few minutes longer on.
Yeah.
Investment properties, you're guaranteed to get a point right now.
Yeah.
Right. Second home,
definitely.
you're probably getting a point right now.
Yeah.
Primary residence or low down payment, low credit score, you're going to probably have some point money on there.
Yeah.
It may only be a quarter, may only be a half. What's the advantages to you? Ask. That's what I tell you. If I'm getting a loan, ask?
Yeah.
Like if I went into a car dealership and I said, I want to put no money down and I want the longest loan you'll give me, it's going to cost more than maybe a couple years shorter.
Yeah,
with,
you'll be
with 1,000 down.
Yeah, you'll be paying more on the loan for sure over the term.
Right. So, but here's what I would tell you to do. I didn't say one was right or wrong. I said ask.
Yeah.
And then can't you run that number? And what do I mean by that? What's the difference in the payment versus rate and term, right? You have to run the numbers monthly and see what that totals out to. So points can be good and bad.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go into our last segment of this show where it'll be how you choose a loan. It'll be another piece we come back to. You want to jump into prepaids?
Yeah.
All the dumb names we give it?
Yeah, prepaid. So we call it an escrow account.
I thought you said prepaid.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
Just kidding.
We call it both. In our industry, we call it escrow. So it's really subsidizing the taxes and insurance monthly. So I think that they put this in place because it comes due every year, taxes and insurance one time a year, and it's time to get paid. So what they did was create an escrow account, and every month put 1 month's worth to add up to the 1 year's either property taxes or insurance, and then get paid whenever it comes due. So I think that a lot of people don't know that prepaids are required.
See, they'll know what they do. You're right. What they do know is that I need insurance on the property.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody knows that. Well, okay. How the program works, though, is when you're escrowing, you're going to pay the first year up front. Then every month, like you had mentioned, you're going to kick a 12th of it in.
Yeah.
And then it's ready for next year when it comes due. Home bill, home insurance bill, and your tax bill works the same. Now, what's screwy with a loan is that in prepaids, you also have, how when you buy something, you don't have a payment due on a mortgage, usually for 30 to 45 days later. Without getting into specifics, that's not free. You're being charged interest during those days as well. That's also considered in your prepaid amount. So you've got taxes and insurance. Now, wait a minute. You're going to close on this, own it, and you're not going to have a payment for a month or two? Yep. You're going to pay the interest. Well, who's going to pay the tax and insurance then? Do you like how I'm going back and forth with myself and arguing? Well, you see, that's why they're going to put a certain amount to start in the account so that it has a base. Maybe it has 2-3 months in it. It's called a cushion. That's because they don't want it running dry. When the bill comes due, they got to be able to pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the escrow account is your money set aside for you.
Yeah.
Easiest way to describe it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Anything else on prepaid? I hate it. Prepaid. You can waive your escrow account if you do 20% down.
I did say that it's required. I guess it's not necessarily required if you're putting a good chunk of money down.
20%.
Yeah.
Not a good chunk. It's 20.
Yeah, it's 20%.
20%.
Yeah.
If you do 15, you still got to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if any FHA government loans, you have to have it a lot. So the really only one you don't is going to be a conventional loan with 20% down.
Yeah.
And why would you not do it? Well, people think, why would I let you as the lender hold on to $3-4 grand or keep it in there where I could invest it myself?
Yeah.
It depends on how much you're really making off $3,000 to $5,000 tax bill. Some people just like it for the ease. And I can tell you, as you get into investment properties, it's a lot easier to have them included. So you're not, I did that on 4 or 5 properties.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Think about that. Oh, honey, I'll get the mail. And you get the mail and you got 1 tax bill, 2 tax bill, 3 tax bill, 4 tax bill, 5 tax bills, and you got insurance policies due on 5 properties. That adds up to a lot, all due at once.
Yeah.
Now, if you were managing your money and putting it aside, yes, but that big a bill can be a big impact.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going off today. Do we got more to cover, don't we?
Yeah, the escrow account will do it for you.
We got to take a break. We're getting the snip. We're coming back, and we're going to talk about picking the right loan. ForThePlan.com. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to The Plan. This is Brad Roach, the Mortgage Planner. 704-412-2727 is our direct dial. Go to ForThePlan.com. Number 4, theplan.com, or you can type it all in if you want, unless you're in a hurry, ForThePlan.com. So we were closing out there with cash to close. We've talked about prepaids. We talked about points. We also need to hit on closing costs.
Yeah.
Closing costs will include your attorney. It's going to include your fees to the lender, us, not counting points, roughly $1,000 to $2,000 is that amount now going rate. Some are a little higher, some a little lower. It's going to include title fees. It's going to include recording fees. It's going to include your appraisal. It may or may not include your home inspection. It may or may not include HOA setup fees to get into the neighborhood, homeowners association. So some will be different, is my point. What would I use, knowing what I know today? 1%. That's what I would do. If I'm buying a $400,000 house, count on $4,000 in that number.
Yeah.
500, 5,000. 10,000 or a million, count on 10,000. Pretty accurate number based on what you've seen, right? You've seen tons of deal quotes already.
Yeah, I completely agree. The 1% rule
It's really easy, but here's what it doesn't count. Your prepaids.
Yeah.
So you got to add that. So if you're buying a house, you have to take 1% for closing costs, the junk stuff to get you there, gets the paperwork done. You got to count 1%. But if I'm buying a $400,000 house, 1% would be $4,000 plus escrows, probably another $3,000. Yeah. How do I estimate that? Doing it a long time and running quotes, right? Remember I told you how I taught you that? I was like, he said, how do you know that? I said, doing it a long time and running numbers. You start learning the different areas and escrows and time of year that they're going to have to put away. Would it be fair if I said, take the 1% rule and minus 20%? I think I'm pretty close.
Yeah, I would say that.
So if it's $5,000, your escrow is going to be probably $4,000. If it's $7,000, the 1% buying a $700,000 house, you're going to have $7,000 in closing costs. The lender and closing and attorney and title and all of that I just talked about, HOA, whatever, and then you're probably going to have around $5,500 in escrow.
Yeah.
Right. And that counts your interest adjustment before your first payment comes due. So you get that. It also counts 1 year of your insurance. It counts the padding in your home insurance. You're right.
Yeah.
Of the escrow. Yeah.
1 year up front of home insurance. I mean, that can really add up there.
That's a big difference for people. I think that they don't keep an eye on that. You've seen a lot on insurance.
Yeah.
In a quick period of time.
I have. I see a lot of different insurance quotes that come over, and I see from different brokers typically is where they come in lower.
And a lot of different prices. It's funny how different they can be.
Yeah.
And I think you have to understand on the insurance what you're looking for. So here's one thing and this is, again, we're not 101 on this, so I want to share with you. Most people that I know and mortgages that I've done haven't turned in a claim on their home insurance. They have not. Well, I have. I had the ice thing.
I do remember that.
It's a mess. Ice wrecked the floor and stuff. But so I had to turn in a claim, and they cover the claim. Or your roof got bad because you had hail damage, and you turn in a claim. That you can turn in claims. But here's what I've learned. Most people don't turn in claims very often on their home insurance policy.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know what percentage that would be. I'd love to know a stat on hey, how many people who have policies actually turn in claims per year, right? And my point with that is, before I turn in my floor, let's use my floor as an example. Ice maker thing leaks, goes all over. They got to come in and do wood floors. It's $20-some thousand, $25,000. We put in a claim. My deductible, and this is where I'm coming home with this, was $2,000. Now, ever since I turned it in, I paid the first $2,000. That's what a deductible is. Paid the first $2,000, and they gave me the money difference on that, and I could pay the floors. Got it done. They're beautiful. Okay. Well, once I did that, my insurance bill went up every month, right? So
Yeah.
I turned in a claim. Hey, I'm gonna get you, right? It's not like you're not gonna. So I turned in a claim. If it was a $10,000 floor, would I have turned it in if I had to pay the first two, or would I put it on a credit card and try and figure it out before they jack me on my insurance monthly every month, right? These are thoughts I'm really considering. Like, what's the best move on this? So here's what I know on a deductible. Every month, if you have a high deductible, you're going to have a lower premium, right? So your mortgage payment, house payment, insurance payment is lower. It's $112. So to me, you want to be hesitant on turning in a claim.
Yeah, I would agree. If you could cover it with cash out of pocket, for sure.
I mean, I hate it. Sorry, tough. But really, you don't want to turn in a claim for $5,000 on your home policy because they're just going to increase your fee, and now you're paying monthly every month for it, and you might want to work that out another way.
Yeah.
In fact, long term, because you turn in a claim, how long does that show up on your policy? I don't know. We're not home insurance agents. There's a disclaimer for that. My point of it is, though, if my fee keeps going up because I keep turning in claims, right? Just like you got driving in a car, if you keep getting speeding tickets, your insurance is going to go up.
Yeah.
You're more risk. So how long does that stick with you? Well, you don't want to stick at all. Here's my recommendation, summing up my point. Higher the deductible, lower your mortgage payment is, lower the cost of carrying the insurance is. You're going to be smarter going that route.
Yeah, I would
If
agree.
if you can afford. I don't want to put such a tight label on it, right? Like, I don't want you at $7,000 deductible. I wouldn't go over 5. Right? Maybe that's what I would say. I wouldn't go over 5. If you have to be at 2, fine. But if you go to 4 or 5, you're going to get a better deal every year. And you really don't want to turn it in for anything less than that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get jacked every month for it.
Yeah. And I think even current homeowners, I think a good tip for them would be to make sure you're checking every year on your policy.
I agree, man. See, you've seen that. We do that as a courtesy for all of our clients. If you're not getting mortgage management, that brings me up to a good point. You can go to fortheplan.com, sign up for mortgage management. You will get a report every month on the value of your home. No cost, no strings attached. We just hope you call us if you need something, right? Give us a shot, right? On the mortgage side, but we want to help you with a plan. So you can get the mortgage management done there. That's a lot to be able to help somebody with. And what happens with that is every year we're going to review it as well with you. You'll get it monthly, but we're going to review it every year. We're also going to tie in the insurance policy as a review.
Yeah.
Save you thousands, man. Hundreds a month.
And then on my auto, home.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of it all.
Yeah. So we want to be a part of that. I wish people knew more about it, right? How to squeeze pennies out of nickels. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We hit that home. Down payment. Did we wrap up cash to close? Or we feel good about that? I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Down payment. What would I put down? By knowing what I know now, as little as possible. So damn hard to get back.
Yeah.
it's like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to get this back. You know, I'm kidding. Values go up. I get it. But really, cash is king. I don't think that's disappeared in the 30 years of me doing business. If the interest rate is dramatically better, yeah, I'd want to put some down. I'd want to plan accordingly. But here's what I know. My option is if I don't have a bunch of money down. Now, I'm not saying you're broke and you go buy a house, but I am saying that the sooner you do buy a house, the quicker you start building appreciation, quicker than you can save it. Your appreciation is going to go a lot quicker than you putting it in your savings account. I can tell you that by looking at over 10,000 applications.
Yeah.
People are more rich in their property than they are in their savings account. And it's kind of like 401k money, right? You're putting money into that all the time. But I'm telling you, I think the biggest piece is around the quicker you can get equity into a property, because you now how can you start? Like, this is the home run right here. Let me give you $300,000, right? You got to live somewhere anyway, and let it go up 7%, 6% every single year. You can't do that at 25 years old unless somebody died and gave it to you. You inherited it. You were on Shark Tank, got that deal. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, then how are you going to get there the quickest? You got to live somewhere. So what were we talking about? Down payment, right?
Yeah.
There was my rant on that. But here's the point. If I only got 3% down, if I have 0 down, what's the cost of the loan? Even if I'm getting screwed a little bit on the details because I'm asking for something a la carte, what's the cost on the loan? What's the appreciation rate, average? And I would back it down a hair, use a worst case scenario, and see how long does it take to get my money back. Maybe it's only a year. Maybe it's a year and a half. Maybe it's 4 years. Well, then
Yeah.
you can make an educated decision if that would be the right move for you on down payment.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that, well, the way that I looked at it, because I just purchased recently, and going 3% down on a $400,000 house, I mean, that's $12,000. Will I'm 5% on 12,000 or 5% on 400,000? It's a completely different game. From the application that we see, I mean, I without a doubt would say that's where most people hold their net worth.
Yeah,
Undoubtedly.
people can look at though like that cost 12,000 as a cost, your down payment,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, but that bought you $300,000 going up at, well, let's just say a crap market 3%. I got to pull that chart. That you remember? I think I had showed you that a while back where it showed like 30 years or 300 years. I don't know how far it went back of appreciation, and even in the bad days of 2008. There was very little decline throughout all of history of property.
Yeah.
Can't say that about much on like cars and stuff like that, stock market. I mean, property's been it either didn't gain or it went up.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I saw a statistic that 3.64%
It's like history over ever.
over the past 64 years. So let's say they do go down. They'll come back.
Yeah, so you've got a good, and people say that all the time. I don't think values are going down.
I agree.
We've still got competing offers in today's market. We're happy to help you with a loan. Go to fortheplan.com if I didn't mention that already. Fortheplan.com, 704-412-2727. We're running out to the end of this. We're going to skate right into what loan should I choose? And how did I answer this before we got on?
The loan chooses you.
Boom, that's it. We're done. Okay, we can hang up. No, but it really does. And I think that is the truest statement that I could make because what's your down payment? What's the ratio? And what is payment like? What do you want to be at a payment? All of those things, none of them, no down payment not being bad. I've heard 15-year on Dave Ramsey. Lots of different opinions out there, right? What I'm encouraged to do based on what I know, lots of different products, lots of advantages, lots of different options for people with good credit scores and maybe not even a lot of money down. There's options. I would ask you to weigh them out and compare them. That's one thing that I would tell you we do very well for a client is put next to each other the options and what it looks like in 5 years, 10 years, 15, and break it down for them.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking at it a long-term approach for the next 3 to 5 years is probably the most cost efficient.
I would agree 100%. So we're going to do that for you. You've listened to the first show of the university. Go to fortheplan.com. You can also call 855-fortheplan.com, 704-412-2727. Thank you for joining us. Brad Roche, the mortgage planner.
And Jacob Roche, thanks for having me.
And we'll be back soon. See you next time.